Thanks for checking out this video. So this is basically all the loot that I ended up getting for my birthday. Very fortunate, very happy to have wonderful, generous people in my life. These are from my best friend Rich and my wife Rebecca. Shout out to them. They're amazing people. Love them. And they didn't need to do this for me, but they did this for me. And it's all Vinegar Syndrome, just so people know. Literally what I've done is I've created a list on my phone of all the Vinegar Syndrome titles I want. And I told my wife that that's where it is. So I was like, if you ever get stuck on what you want to get me for birthdays or Christmas or whatever, there's a place you can go. So it makes it easier for her, because a lot of times she's like, you're hard to buy for, because I don't know what you want movie-wise, and I don't know necessarily what you have, because it is kind of hard to go through all this stuff back here sometimes. But anyway, let's get to the first one that is not horror related, but is a film I've seen before a few times and really enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. That is Death Promise. Now, if you're a fan of kung fu films, especially so bad it's good kung fu films, you have got to see Death Promise if you haven't already. It's available on Tubi right now, but it's not going to look nearly as good as this version because it's not the Vinegar Syndrome version. But if you check out the back of that, the rats have a purpose in this one. And then on the inside, actually a pretty solid cover from the original. Now let's read this one. The residents of a dilapidated New York tenement building are being harassed and threatened by Iguana Realty, the dummy corporation which owns the land, in an effort to force them out of their homes. But when karate master Charlie's father is murdered by a group of thugs hired by the landlords, he decides to take matters into his own hands. Enlisting the help of his best friend, fellow fighter Speedy, and driven by a desire for vengeance, they soon develop a plan to murder each board member of Iguana Realty. However, what they don't realize is that their final target is someone much closer to home. Dun dun dun. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It is such a ridiculous movie, but it is so much fun. Like I said, you like kung fu, you like So Bad It's Good films, Death Promise. This one's from Rich. Thank you so much, Rich. We watched this movie together for the first time, and we're both just like, oh my gosh. And we just keep saying, that's a promise, because there's a song in there like that. Very catchy, very fun. So then we're getting into all the stuff that my wife got me, and she went a little overboard, but I'm not going to complain about that. Love it. The first one is one that I've been really wanting to get, and it's available on 4K through Vinegar Syndrome. That is Tammy and the T-Rex, which I actually have a review for this on my channel, I think from like 3 years ago or something. It's been a while, but yeah, the 4K of Tammy and the T-Rex, it looks amazing. Unfortunately, didn't get a slipcover because they're not available at the moment, but through the media club that Vinegar Syndrome does, maybe at some point I will get one. But Tammy is a popular high school cheerleader whose new boyfriend, Michael, might be the love of her life. But Tammy's jealous ex, Billy, won't stand for anyone coming between him and his girl. So he and his friend kidnap Michael, leaving him to be mauled by a lion in a local wildlife reserve. Comatose and at death's door, Michael's body is stolen from the hospital by mad scientist Dr. Wachenski. Wachenstein, sorry. I don't know why I read it that way. Wachenstein, who extracts his brain and implants it into a giant robotic T-Rex. Horrified by his predicament and new dinosaur body, he escapes from the doctor's lab and begins brutally killing his former bullies. Meanwhile, Tammy and her best friend Byron start searching for a suitable human corpse in which to retransplant Michael's brain. This one's very wild. It's very over the top. My wife watched it with me, and she was just like, you truly never know where this movie's going. It's very all over the place. It is wild. But she found it entertaining. It's a lot of fun. Has a young Paul Walker, young Denise Richards, and a Terry Kaiser in it, who, if people don't know who Terry Kaiser is, you'd probably know him most and in his role as Bernie Lomax from Weekend at Bernie's. But he was also good in Surf 2, which is another film that was put out through Vinegar Syndrome. And he's been in at least something else, I think, that I enjoyed. Oh, he was in one of the Friday the 13th films. I think maybe it was the second one? I'm thinking the second one. I might be wrong. You can fact check me on that one. But Tammy and the T-Rex, amazing. Already watched it. We already watched it together. So excited to add this to my list. Haven't watched the special features yet, but I know they're going to be fun. Then there are 2 box sets. So I'll go through everything in these box sets. The first one being, if you know my channel and you know I've been big into Giallo films, They have their Forgotten Gialli series. I have volumes 1 and 2, so my wife got me volume 3. There's still 4 and 5 out there that I need to get, and that'll eventually happen slowly, but I mean, they just pack art on these things. Like, it's everywhere. It just looks so good. So let's get into what's actually in here. We have, and I've reviewed all of these, by the way, so if you're seeing this and you're like, oh man, I'd love to see Carlin's review on this, you can, because I reviewed all 3 of these. So the first one being Autopsy. This is a good one. I did like this one. The only thing I don't like about it is that at one point, it's not super long. They do show actual, like, dead body photos. Not a thing that I'm into. But this does not look great. That's great. A wave of sudden violent suicides have gripped Rome and are being blamed on sunspots. Simona, a young pathologist with an unhealthy obsession with death, has become increasingly interested in this strange phenomenon. But with the discovery of the body of a young woman, an apparent victim of a self-inflicted gunshot, Simona finds herself thrust into a terrifying mystery and conspiracy to cloak actual murders as suicides. And the nearer she comes to unraveling the truth, the more in danger she is to entering the sights of a deranged killer who might be a lot closer to home than she realizes. Yeah, it's a good one. This one has Mimsy Farmer in it. If you've ever seen any Mimsy Farmer films and you liked her. Let me show you the alternate cover, if this Blu-ray will come out. Yeah, that's really in there. There's the alternate cover for Autopsy. Looks cool. I like this one a lot more. That's a lot more fun. So that's why I think I flipped it. Yeah, I did end up flipping it. I just love this one. But yeah, Autopsy is a good one. The next one is The Murder Mansion. Now, this was actually my favorite from this volume of Forgotten Gialli. I love The Murder Mansion. Look at that. That looks so good. Looks so good. And then I'll show you the alternate one on the inside, which also looks good, but I mean, it also looks good, but come on, like that one, way cooler in my opinion. So, really like this one. I was really surprised by it when I first saw it, and all these I think are still streaming on Shudder if you want to check those out. The Murder Mansion. On a dark and foggy night in the countryside, a group of apparent strangers all find themselves stranded at an old Gothic mansion. Deciding to spend the night and look for help, the following morning the group pair off for bed. As the night wears on, increasingly strange events begin to occur, culminating in a murder. Tensions and suspicions rise, and fear mounts that the ghosts of the mansion have risen from the grave, especially when more bodies turn up. But is the explanation behind these ghastly events truly supernatural? Yeah, like I said, I was very surprised with this one because I'd never heard of it before I watched it. It looks great. Like, it's not just the restoration of what Vinegar Syndrome did, but that does look great. But it's how it was shot initially. It just looks really good, and it's a very interesting giallo-ish film. Then the last one is Crazy Desires of a Murderer. This one I thought was also pretty fun. That's the cover I like the most, but I'll show you the other one. That one is also cool once again, but I think this one more my favorite. So let's talk about Crazy Desires of a Murderer. The Countess Ileana has just returned to her family's grand old castle where her paralyzed father, an apparent clairvoyant, and strange younger brother with an unhealthy interest in taxidermy reside. Almost immediately after arriving, one of Ileana's friends who's visiting the castle is shockingly murdered and has her eyes plucked out of their sockets. While suspicion falls on Ileana's brother, a curious police inspector begins to investigate, believing there to be more to the killing than meets the eye. Get that pun? However, his sleuthing proves no match for this maniac as the body count steadily rises. So, there you have it. Those are all good. I'm a fan of those. And then moving on to the second and final box set, which I love the construction of their box sets. This one I was super hyped I got. This was probably the thing that I wanted most on my list. So I was really hoping that someone got it for me for my birthday. And my wife did. She really came through on it. And that is the Homegrown Horrors Volume 1 box set. The main reason being for Winter Beast, which I'll read you what it is. This is an amazing, amazing, amazing So Bad It's Good film. It's really up there for one of my favorites, to be honest. It's so good. Now, the rest of the films in this I have seen, and I believe are still available to stream on Shudder, so you can check that out. But I liked, well, I'll talk about them as I get to them individually, but let me show you the rest of this. Again, love the packaging. That's awesome. Big fan of that. Not much on that, but yeah, it's cool. So let's get into all these films. Put that over there. Sometimes the suction really keeps them in there. So this one, man, check this out. This one is Fatal Exam. This is the one I like the least out of these. Look at this cover. I think I actually changed it to this cover just because I think it's really funny looking, how bad it is. It's like the original cover art. Now this is the artwork that Vinegar Syndrome did, which obviously looks a lot better, but it's also like on the outside of the box set, so that's one of the main reasons I flipped it. Plus, I just think it looks funny because it's so bad looking. But anyway, Fatal Exam. A group of college students have been given a very unusual assignment. Spend the night inside of a supposedly haunted house as part of their studies into the supernatural and occult. Although the ragtag team of collegiates would much rather party and get stoned than look for ghosts, it's not long before unexplained events begin to occur. Initially suspecting that some of the classmates might be playing a practical joke, their fears are proven very real when someone or something, dressed in robes and carrying a scythe, starts bumping them off one by one. Didn't like this one a whole lot. It is one of those So Bad It's Good films, so if you just want to watch So Bad It's Good films, go ahead and check it out. But it's not one that I want to watch a whole lot. May not review it, just saying. Then the next one we have is Beyond Dream's Door, which I actually did enjoy this one. This one was some fun. It's not like the best So Bad It's Good film, but it's a pretty fun So Bad It's Good film. Or a lot of like kind of cool, creepy moments and imagery. So I changed it to the original artwork, and you see the Vinegar Syndrome one that they did, also looking cool. Very actually looking better, much better. So, Beyond Dream's Door. Lately, Ben hasn't been sleeping well. His dreams are filled with violent and terrifying visions of monsters and death. Seeking out answers, he begins to pursue the subtext and hidden meanings of his strange and terrifying nightmares with the help of his professor and several friends. As the dreams grow increasingly lifelike, Ben fears that he's losing his grip on sanity, especially as those around him start turning up dead, horribly mutilated, just like he's seen in his sleep. Dun dun dun. And with all these films in this box set, they're very low budget. You can tell a lot of them are So Bad It's Good. There is a volume 2 that I want to get, but don't have it at the moment, and I might be buying that for myself for the halfway to Black Friday sale, which when I'm recording this, that hasn't happened yet, but it is just days away when I'm recording this. Very excited about it. But yeah, there's Beyond Dream's Door. And then the last one to wrap this up, the pièce de résistance, Winter Beast. And this original artwork for it is pretty awesome. That looks pretty fun. That's a fun cover. I also do like the cover that Vinegar Syndrome did quite a bit. That's there is stop motion animation in this film that's pretty awesome. It's a lot of fun. I just love stop motion animation, and that's like the creature, one of the creatures that's stop motion animated. There's a good amount of it, so if you like stop motion, this is a film you want to check out. Also, if you like So Bad It's Good films that are epically So Bad It's Good, Winter Beast. Weird things are happening in and around the Wild Goose Lodge, a snowy inn located in rural Massachusetts. People are being found dead and mutilated, while others are vanishing without a trace. Realizing that the violence might have something to do with Native American black magic and the ancient secrets of the area's historic totem poles, a trio of cops decide to investigate the goings-on and are faced with an array of monsters, ghouls, and even a sampling of murderous locals. Dun dun dun. Trust me, it's worth your time. It's 100% worth your time. And like I said, I believe that all of these are still available to stream on Shudder, as are the box set, the ones from the box set for the Forgotten Jolly Volume 3. So, let me know, of these things, what sounds the most interesting to you, or what have you seen that you've liked the most out of these? Also, what have you gotten recently, not necessarily for your birthday. If you did have a birthday recently, what did you get for your birthday? And whatever you want to let me know about. but also just what have you picked up recently, especially horror related, that you're excited about. Go ahead and put it in the comments. Do me a quick favor, hit subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, blah, 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 all that jazz. Hit the notification bell button, all that jazz. But thanks so much for taking your time to watch this video. I really do appreciate it. And until next time, keep it brutal.